What's up, crypto gang? Welcome back to another episode of Hack Crypto, where we hack our cryptocurrency and blockchain education. If you guys are brand new here, we do a small little giveaway at the beginning of every single episode, and today's winner is Hooked Outdoors. Thanks so much for commenting on the previous video. Hooked Outdoors, welcome to the community. I just sent you some crypto. On this episode, I'm going to be going over what the future of banking looks like. Now, this is a topic that has come up a dozen times over the last month or two since the crazy explosive growth in the crypto industry, as well as a lot of innovations in the fintech space and movement going on with the OCC. Now, before I get into the video, it's important to know that there are a lot of things that I'm going to be talking about that are predictions. And it's not something to get freaked out about or anything like that, but it is important to know that these are predictions and it's not a certainty. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that before the comments go nuts about me predicting some sort of dystopian future. All these are backed by banking institutions, people that have mentioned things about the future and what is to come, experts in the field, and not necessarily me entirely, but I like connecting dots from time to time. So that's what I'm going to do. So the first thing to mention is the OCC. And this is the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. It's best to just look at them as like a regulatory body for currency. And the important part here is that they did pass legislation allowing federally chartered banks to have node verification and a stable of these stable coins, which means they're able to hold stable coins and custody them for customers, and they're able to operate nodes like a Bitcoin node within their organization, which is a huge move for regulation, and it helps banks in terms of getting involved. And I did a podcast and a live stream a while back with Richard Hart, and I mentioned banks are going to run nodes and be part of this revolution because they're going to be making the fees just like they currently do on transactions if they're running nodes and helping with the governance of chains. He did not like the idea of banks being involved and just kind of beat around the bush and said that those banks are going to go out of business and everything like that. And banks aren't just going to roll over and say, yeah, we got beat. They're going to adopt. They're going to adopt or die. That's just how it works. And they are going to, as we can see here from the regulatory body, the OCC, they're going to start offering custody for these different digital currencies. Now, this is a first step into a lot of the futuristic things that are to come. Now, it's important to keep in mind one of the biggest advances in the finance space over the last 20 years or so, maybe even 40 years, depending on how far we want to go back, is ATMs. And ATMs are like this big innovation that happened where people could walk up, pull money out using their plastic card, and it was revolutionary. Everybody thought that it was like the future. It was going to disrupt all the bank tellers, but ultimately it needed more bank tellers. People would have problems and things like that. So when we use that point of reference in terms of the biggest innovation, I would say to banks over the last few decades, there is, a lot of room for improvement, we'll say, going into something like a digital currency. Now, I think that ATMs are going to just be different. They're going to be interfaces based on what I've read around, executives suggesting things. ATMs are just going to be sort of a point of reference for people because everything is going to be on your mobile device. Whether or not you like it, things are changing and branches are going to be a thing of the past. There will probably be a couple big branches that you'll recognize in terms of the logo, but you will not recognize what it looks like on the outside. It's going to look completely different. And branches, if not only big branches, there may be a couple small ones that have survived, but ultimately it will be a race to mobile. If you cannot adopt the mobile platform, the ability to input digital currencies into your infrastructure as a bank right now, you are treading water. You will not be using cash. That is the next piece here, is that physical cash is going to be phased out entirely. Now, there was a joke a few years ago that I mentioned on the channel that was your kids and your kids' kids will question you and say, you guys actually used paper for currency and never washed it, so it was just germy paper. And I thought that that was such an insightful thing in terms of a joke. It is actually saying that in the future, if you think about it, we were using just unwashed currency, like pieces of paper, to pay for things. And now with the pandemic having just crushed through the entire world, this is a reality. Passing germs around, it's going to be gone. And that's uncomfortable for a lot of people. And there are going to be a lot of things that happen before physical currency is phased out. But for everybody that's going, my money, my mattress money, that is going to be something that you will give back to the bank, dumping your cash back in to get the sweet, sweet digital currency, because that is where is going to be operating on your mobile device. That is where you're going to be using it on your point of sale. You're going to be using your mobile device for everything. And as you can already tell, people are going cashless. Businesses are cashless. Square has innovated a lot towards the cashless payments. Now, a lot of people that question, if cash will go away or not. The pandemic was probably the biggest initial eye-opener for a lot of those people, but I still know a few people still DM me from time to time and say, like, why is cash still here? It's going to be around forever. It represents freedom. I have heard quite a bit. And ultimately, if you're caught with over $10,000 in cash, good luck with that. They're going to confiscate that and take that away as evidence because that is considered something that is, usually out of the norm. So it's probably illegal. That's kind of how it's viewed. So I'm not sure about how that represents freedom. I've always kind of been interested in that argument. But with stablecoins, people are looking for speed, efficiency, interoperability, and a low cost associated with these products. And that's why banks and federally chartered banks are going to be adopting them, because people want them. You want to see change? Buy it, participate in it, sign up for it, and be part of it. This is how economies shift. And what we're watching right before our eyes now is the digital economy shifting right on top of the analog economy. And this is something that a lot of people have kind of barked against, like your Peter Schiff, who talks about gold and physical gold and things like that. These are the types of people that are always going to be on the wrong side of history, betting against technology, betting against innovation, and just the way that we're evolving as humans with these mobile devices. We're like cyborgs walking around paying for things, paying for coffee and things like that. That is a glimpse into what is coming. Now, in terms of crypto right now, the closest things that you have to banks are exchanges, and some of the best ones out there are crypto.com because you have your debit card that is working with Visa, so you can use it everywhere that you go. You can top it up, you can borrow, and you can earn interest on your crypto that's sitting in there. And it is effectively like a bank. And the way that I've looked at it is a lot of banks are going to mimic businesses like this because they are already mobile. They're mobile first, already like one step ahead of neobanks because they have crypto that they're custodying. They're able to exchange currencies, and they're able to actually use that physical form factor that will, may or may not phase out within the next 10 years. Gen Z is going to be entirely on the mobile device, which crypto.com and some of these other services are allowing you to do, paying just by beeping your mobile. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out crypto.com, definitely check the link in the description below. Sign up, deposit some Bitcoin or ETH in there, earn some interest off of putting it and locking it, staking it in there. Their CRO token is pretty fantastic. I've covered it many times on the channel before, but it is effectively like a next generation bank. And I think that a lot of these neobanks are going to shift in that direction because it's just miserable the amount of interest that you earn on a savings account. It's pathetic, really. I mean, putting your US dollars into a savings account, earning like 0.01% interest is just a joke, I think, when you have other products out there that are, 15%, 10%. It is a no-brainer, in my opinion, to download apps like this, participate in it, and just give it a vote. Like I said before, if you want something to change, you need to vote with your dollars and you need to make things happen yourself in that space. To summarize for everybody, the too long didn't watch, even though this is all the way at the end, ATMs are going to change entirely. Branches are going to shut down, the majority of them that aren't fast enough to adopt the mobile neobanking model for Gen Z and the millennials. And on top of that, you're going to have cash disappear, physical cash. Digital currencies are already coming into federally chartered banks because of the speed, the efficiency, the interoperability, and the low cost associated with these. And they are going to be able to operate nodes. So the banks are going to be making money off of transactions still. We'll be curious to see what type of chain they're going to use, if it's public or private. I'm assuming it's going to be private. But the node aspect is very exciting, where they're going to be operating nodes. And into the crypto space, I'm really excited about what Crypto.com is building. I'm excited what Divi is building. I'm excited what SpectraCoin is building. A lot of these exchanges like Gemini and Coinbase and Kraken, they're all going to be the next generation of these large financial institutions, I think. They're going to be the next JP Morgan, except all mobile, extremely seamless and easy and fast and efficient to use. And it's just inevitable. I think that there's too much information out there. There's too much shifting going on and too much printing of US currency to not believe that this will happen in a quick manner, 5 to 10 years out. Definitely leave a comment below what you think is going to be the future, because I'm always open to learning more about what people think, where things are shifting. Just using the information in front of me now is pretty telling, I think. So I would like to think that there are going to be some different pieces that come into play, but ultimately stablecoin payments are here to stay. And that is it for this episode. Slap a like, leave a comment. Don't forget to be subscribed, and I will see you on the next episode of Hack Crypto.